Hello, this is Melanie Dean here, and welcome to the Radiant Living Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I'm always really excited to be sharing so many different things with you all, so thank you for joining. So this week, I'm going to be sharing some tools and some insights on how to really get to know yourself and why it's important to know yourself and know the real truth and essence of who you are and what you're here to do and you're here to experience. I think it's the times that we live in where can be so influenced by so many things around us, whether it's social media, TV, all the different things that are going on in our lives, people, friends, colleagues, family, peers, so many different outside influences, which obviously are part of our experience here and part of us being created here. But truly, we come to this planet, we come to this beautiful earth with our own path and our own destiny and our own higher calling. And sometimes we can get lost with that and we can lose our way because we can maybe start living our lives based on other people's ideals or based on what other people expect from us or demand from us or desire from us. And so this is just like a really beautiful reminder for all of us just to really connect with ourselves, honor ourselves and the truth and essence of who we are, so we can really give to more people around us and we can help more people. We're all here to help each other, but we're doing that from the inside out rather than from the outside in. And whenever we're projecting and perceiving and seeing and manifesting from the inside out, it's always going to be on a higher calling, a higher path, and that path of destiny versus fate. That destiny which is I'm empowered and I am the creator, the co-creator with source energy, versus I'm on the path of fate. Life just keeps happening to me. I don't even get a say. What's the point? Two completely different energies, polar opposite in their energy. So a couple of key points to why it's important to really know ourselves and really get to know ourselves. Firstly, you're going to start knowing the difference between your own thoughts and what other people have put on you. So you're going to be able to discern what's actually for your best interest versus what your mind can maybe tell yourself to do, or where your mind tells you to think based on outside sources, based on social media, based on other things that are coming in, like I said, family or friends. And then the second thing, which is why it's really important, is a lot of the times, I'm sure you experience this, I definitely do, and there's like all these different voices in my head, and some of them serve me and some of them don't. And some of them are, I don't want to do this, therefore I shouldn't do it. And some of them are like, I don't want to do this because I just don't feel like doing it, but actually I know I'm going to feel better if I do it. So once we start really getting to know ourselves, we can really, again, discern the difference between the voice that's of that higher frequency, the voice that's there to serve us and to guide us, versus that voice that's not there to serve us or guide us. And really knowing the difference. And this is definitely important. I feel so important as well for that divine feminine energy, because with our cycles as well, we can feel like we should maybe do things when actually the best thing we can do is honor our body and honor our energy in that particular day or that moment of that day or moment in that month. But sometimes we're like we're fighting with that voice that's saying just be still, be calm, be still today, like that'll be the best thing for you. So it's really, when we really get to know ourselves, like I said, we can really start to know the difference. Also, like if you're working with a lot of people, or if you want to build up like beautiful relationships with partners, with friends, you're running a business where you're working with people, or people are working for you maybe, or you have a job where you work with lots of people, you work with a team of people. The more you get to know yourself, the better, because again, you can really honor your thoughts and your boundaries, but also you can start honoring other people, because you can start seeing that we're all so different And like I mentioned in the first podcast I did, really everything's about perception. There's so many different ways to look at the same situation, and like more often than not, no one's right or no one's wrong. We're just looking at the same thing but from a different angle. So when we start to learn about ourselves, we can start then seeing different things in other people, and we can start understanding, as obvious as it is, but really deeply understanding that everybody is different, and that everybody is doing their best and the version of their best. I once listened to a fantastic podcast. I actually watched it on YouTube, and it was Russell Brand interviewing Brené Brown, and it was incredible. And she spoke about that in particular. It was probably a podcast that was about an hour and a half. So they covered a lot of things, but I always remember that bit that they spoke about. And she did a study, and I won't go into the ins and outs. Have a listen to the podcast or watch it on YouTube. But basically, she said everybody is doing their best. Now, it might not be your version of their best, but they're doing their best. So once we start to learn about ourselves, we can then start to learn about other people, and we can have compassion for other people. And I think when we have compassion for other people, we're also having more compassion for ourselves. When we can let ourselves off the hook for things that maybe we've done, like that we thought we could do differently, we could do better next time. We can also let other people off the hook when we think that they could have done better, or we hope they would do better next time, if that makes sense. So I'll give you some key things that have really, really helped me over the years. Number one, the first thing I want to mention is something called love languages. So the 5 Languages of Love is a book that was written by Gary Chapman. So you can take a look at that book, or you can obviously Google it and go to the website. And basically what he says is that there's 5 different ways how when people do these things, we perceive that as love. But what's interesting with that is that we tend to do for others what our preferences is. So you might have something that you prefer, and then you relay that back to a partner or to a friend because that's your perception of what love is. But their perception of what love is could be something completely different. So the 5 languages are words of affirmation. So that's, for example, people saying really nice things, writing in cards with like loads of beautiful words, like just oozing beautiful things about you as a person, as an individual, like their love for you, their thanks for you, their gratitude for you, pointing out all the amazing things that you are. That's that words of affirmation. Another one is gifts. So this can be things like, someone buying you a gift, whether it can be anything. It doesn't have to be anything expensive, but someone giving you a gift that makes you feel that they love you, that you feel loved by them giving you a gift. So it could be anything from, a handbag, a online course, a cup of coffee, whatever that might be. A third one is touch. So I would say this is more for a partner that you're in a physical relationship with, but touch. So if someone's like, even if they just touch your back or they touch your arm, or they like hugging, they like touching, that's obviously a physical touch. The next one is time. So somebody who carves out time for you, even again, like I said, it doesn't have to be a whole day or a week or a month, but somebody who maybe carves out just time for you. You perceive that as love and feeling loved and being loved. And then the last one out of the 5, or not that they're in any particular order, but the last one to mention is acts of service. So acts of service could be, for example, someone bringing you a cup of coffee in bed, or you maybe ask someone a question for help and they reply back. Acts of service, it could be that they just help out with something that you need help with, and they offer that help. That's the acts of service. Yeah, basically anything that's in service to you. So like I said, you might feel that maybe words of affirmation is your thing, that when people say lovely words to you, that makes you feel so good. So then when you're with your partner or with your friends or with your business colleagues, you then give them that words of affirmation. You tell them in words, like how much you appreciate them, how grateful you are for them, how much you love them, whatever that might be, but they might not see that as feeling loved. And so it kind of doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter that you've given that to them because they don't perceive that as that. So again, it's so interesting. Coming back to the first podcast I did, again, like I said, all about perception. And that's really one thing to really consider and to master on this planet, is to see that there's so many different angles and perceptions with every situation and every conversation. And we're all experiencing different things, and that's why we actually get to choose what we want to experience. That's why we get to manifest what we want to experience, because there's so many different ways to look at things. And that's why we get to see the opposite. We get to, if someone may be saying, oh, this is so bad, like this is not going well, this is not good, you can totally see the opposite of that same situation. There's always two sides to everything. In fact, there's usually multiple sides to everything. So that's that one. So like I say, have a Google of that if you want to look into that more. And if you're really interested, obviously have a look at the book. So the next thing to mention is personality types. So of course, there's lots of different personality type tests out there. There's the one called Briggs-Myers. So if you've not tried that, you can Google that and have a look at that and do the test online and learn about yourself in that way. There's also a fantastic book called Personality Plus, and she speaks about 4 main personality characters. And you might have come across this before. They're usually related either in animals or in colours, and depending whose tests you've looked at or read about, it could be different. Everyone sort of has their own version of it. But basically, the 4 personality types are, and I'll do it in animals because I think animals makes a lot of sense. So, for example, there's the owl. So the owl is somebody who is very analytical. So I always think of the wise owl. They're very analytical. They want to weigh up the pros and cons of something before maybe they make a decision. They like to know what's could be the worst case scenario. They're not necessarily always optimistic. They're not necessarily pessimistic either, but they just like to balance out and they want to know. They're sort of somebody who would maybe do a spreadsheet, pros and cons list, that kind of personality type. The second one to mention is the dolphin. So the dolphin is somebody who is really nurturing, really thoughtful about people, about maybe the planet, about mankind. They're just really, they're quite sensitive and empathetic as well. So again, thinking of a dolphin, like very intuitive animal, very gentle animal, and that's that personality type. The third one to mention is the lion. So the lion is somebody who is probably quite direct. They know what they want. They're not afraid to go out and get it. They sort of don't care who's in their way. They'll make their own path to get there. They like recognition. They like to be like king of the hill. They like to be a leader. They're very strong in what their desires are, how they think. They know their own mind. So that would be the personality of the lion. And then the fourth one is the monkey. So the monkey is all about fun. They love having a laugh, a giggle. They're probably quite mischievous. If it's not fun, it's like, what's the point? They are like the person that probably everyone just wants to be around for that fun and laughter. So those are those 4 personalities. Now, obviously, there's so much to look into in each of these ones. And also what I would say is be very mindful that, you don't step into judgment of yourself and of other people, because the chances are people aren't just one particular character or personality. People can be an array of all the personalities and characters. So it's really, really important, that message that I want to really get through to everybody who listens to this, is to really just be so mindful of that judgment, again, like I said, of yourself, but also really of other people. And when we're looking, if we want to work with people, we have to be almost like a chameleon with the different personality types. We have to know that we are all of those 4 personalities, and we want to highlight that in us that can reflect the person that we're speaking with. Again, the same with the love languages. Instead of looking at what my needs are, I want my needs met. we do have to consider when we're working with other people, what are their needs? How can I meet their needs? So that could be whether you're working with a team or whether you've got clients that you're looking to service. These are all the things that you maybe would want to consider. And then the next thing to touch on, which has been actually incredibly important and powerful for me and my journey in business for the last 10 plus years, and that is astrology. So it's interesting astrology, because obviously everyone's got a different point of view with astrology. But I remember once reading this quote, I actually got this from the Forbes.com. JP Morgan once famously said that millionaires don't need astrologers, but billionaires do. So why they said that was because they were relating it to the markets and when to invest, when not to invest, when to sign contracts, when not to sign contracts, based on astrology, based on planetary alignment. But also, I would definitely consider this as, obviously depending on your beliefs, but consider this in learning about you and yourself. So for me personally, I am Capricorn I'm Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Rising, so that's your ascendant, and I'm a Scorpio Moon. So that says something about the person I am. And so what it has meant for me is that when I read what that is in my astrology, how that relates to me as a person, I can then own that as who I am and know that I am here to be that person. I am here, yes, to learn lessons and to grow and to project upwards from how I arrived here. I'm here to grow. I'm here to ascend. But I'm also here as a certain person to create a certain vibration, a certain frequency that will impact people's lives. People who come across me, people who meet me, people who spend time with me, people who conversate with me, people who listen to my podcast. So when you start learning about your planets, and that is just 3, and also it really depends on what house they're in, even the degree of when you were born, but also there's other planets to look at, like where is your Mars, your Venus, your Neptune, all these different things that can really tell a story about who you are and your mission in this lifetime. So why this is really, really, really great is because, again, it gives you an opportunity to really deeply start to understand yourself and start to learn about yourself, why you do the things that you do, why do you see and react maybe or enjoy the things that you enjoy, and then how you can shift from that into growing, into elevating, into ascending, but also honoring the person that you incarnated on this planet, in this lifetime to be. So you can carve your destiny based on why you're here rather than what someone else would like you to be here to do for them, if that makes sense. So that's a really, really powerful tool. For me, I use astro.com, and you click on personal portrait, or you can use a website called Cafe Astrology as well. And of course, you can book readings with astrologists as well, and get a deeper understanding of that. But I would say go deeper than just knowing your sun, rising, and moon sign. Like, find out what house they're in, find out where your other planets lay within your natal chart as well, because you can really get a beautiful story of why you're here and what you're here to do. And you can then unapologetically get on with it and get creating and live at your highest destiny. The next thing to mention is numerology. So I learned a little bit of this with my Kundalini Yoga teacher training. And so if you type in Kundalini Yoga with numerology, you can then pop onto the website. I think it's through 3HO. And you can type in your date of birth, and you can start again to understand more about your numerology and how that might reflect the person that you are as well. So have a look at that too. And then the last thing that I want to leave you with is about awareness. It's having an awareness of you and knowing that you are your main project. You are the main character of your life. So start observing you and yourself, and start having that awareness of you and yourself. Maybe start being aware of what makes you feel good, and then maybe what doesn't make you feel so good, and starting to really know and learn about yourself, the difference between the two. And then in relationship to other people, learn about how you project yourself, and learn about how you want to create you in that authentic way. And this is when, again, of course, meditation comes in beautifully, because when we meditate, we get that direct message. We get that direct message, that direct download through our crown chakra of that destiny, of our purpose, of why we are here in this lifetime, what we are here to create and to deliver and to be part of. And that, again, that way we can really honor who we are unapologetically in our actions, in what we create, in what we deliver, in what we do. There's no should I or shouldn't I. We're just purely living in alignment with our higher self in order to be on that absolute path of destiny, of essence and truth of who we are. So if you haven't already, listened to podcast number 9, because I did a meditation then where we actually visited our future selves, and we got to experience our future self and the feeling and the energy of our future self, and what that future self knows about ourselves. And I think that's a really powerful thing, because that's, for me, is when that next level of confidence and trust really comes in. When there's a lack of confidence, it's because there's a lack of alignment of who we are. When we're fully in alignment of who we are and what we do, and we can honor who we are and what we do, then that confidence grows. That confidence is just a given, because it's the ultimate path to be on. It's a path we're intended to be on. So I hope you found this really, really helpful. Take a look at all those tools I've given you. As a wise yogi once said, without tools, you're a fool. And I love giving tools, because as much as we can talk on podcasts, and I love podcasts and I love sharing, the tools are the things that really help us on the good days, the bad days and the ugly days. It's the tools that, using these tools, can really help and develop ourselves, and again, the person who we're here to be, that beautiful person. So thank you so much for listening. If any of this has resonated with you, please feel free to share it. Share it on Instagram, radiantliving_ or Melanie J. Dean. Feel free to tag me, and feel free to leave a review as well. 5-star review would be very, very, very welcomed. And if you would love to have a meditation, a beautiful sunrise meditation I created all on manifesting, then pop over to my website, melaniejddean.com, and that will be with you very shortly, literally within the next couple of days. So feel free to head on over to there, and it'll be with you very, very soon. And thank you so much for joining. Big loves. Bye.